These faceless channels are printing money with AI content. This one is making $16,000 to $40,000 per month. This other one, $4,000 to $11,000. That is the war details. And this last one is making $3,000 to $8,000 monthly, the coin financials. The crazy part is that they're all using AI generated content and scripts. So I reverse engineered their system and automated it. Stick around because not only will I demo live complete script generation from start to finish, but I'll also share with you my secret sauce to get the best results every time I generate scripts with AI automations. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact method automation I built to generate scripts in any niche from finance to storytelling to even teaching. Before we start, if you're wondering which tools I use to see how much these channels are making, here they are. So you pretty much have two options. The free one, which is Social Blade. So if you head over to socialblades.com and you enter the username or the channel name, you can see right here the estimated monthly earnings. So for the war details, you can see that it ranges from $529 to $8,000, which is a pretty wide range. English Unleash the podcast ranges from 807 to $13,000, and you can see you can do the same exercise for the Social Blade for the coin financials as well, which is $380 to $6,100. However, if you have a little budget, you can choose the paid option, which is vidIQ that I use. So here you can see more accurate estimates. So for the war details, we can see that they're making between $4,000 to $11,000 a month. So I can have more details here. I can do the same exercise for English Unleashed the podcast here. So I can see that they're printing money. So they're making between $16,000 to $48,000 a month. So what do you actually need to build this? And that's exactly what we'll cover during this video. Welcome to my 10K per month Faceless YouTube AI script generator. Basically, these are the requirements that you need to build the automations that I will share with you in a moment. So you need a make.com account or an N8N account, which is the automation platform. Of course, you can also use Zapier if you're already familiar with that. You will need the Cloud or OpenAI API access for the AI models. You will need Google Workspace access. So I use a lot of Google Workspace. So we use the Google Drive for storing all of our files, Google Docs to get the scripts, Google Sheets for tracking and input. And well, you also need some basic YouTube knowledge because you need that to research trending topics and niches, and obviously reverse engineer what is already working. All right, here's a 30,000 feet view of my make automation to generate the script. Now, don't worry if this seems overwhelming. I'll break it down step by step so you understand exactly what is happening here. So let's first focus on the Cloud modules. So we have 5 Cloud modules that we use in this entire workflow. Everything you see in purple here are actually custom variables that I use to either format the output and the inputs properly or store data. And you can see also here that at the end I store everything on the Google Drive. I create a Google Drive and then I store the script in a Google Doc inside that Google Drive, and I update my tracking sheet. Now, before explaining the module step by step, I'll bring you to a chart that actually explains the flow of my automation. All right, so typically when I'm building workflows like this, one of the first things that I want to figure out is the flow of information, meaning like what are the inputs that I want to take, how will the information flow across the modules. And here for this particular automation, the input collection contains the video ID, the video topic, of course, the tonality of the channel, key elements I would like to include in the script. This is really to personalize my content and to put my personal voice in the script. The channel photo ID and the tracking sheet ID is really to keep everything organized. The video length, because I like to have control over the length of the final video, and the hook structure. This is what it looks like in Make right now. So if I try to run it, you will see that I have scenario inputs. So all these inputs are the one that I just mentioned earlier. Now these are default variables that I've set before recording this video, but ultimately I can change anything here. So if I want the length to be 2,200 words. I can change it. So the length is in words, by the way. And from experience, I know that 2,000 words approximate to about 10 to 11 minutes videos. So I know that for a fact. So if I want to, let's say, create 20 minutes video, that's like 4,000 to 4,500 words. Anyway, so that's the first step. Now let me go back here to my diagram. So the second step is really the context building. At this stage, I'm asking the Claude module to act as an expert in creating educational narrative content. His mission is to analyze the provided topic, so the topic that I just gave him in the input, and to create a logical structure for an educational YouTube video. So it looks like this in the make. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can see here that, well, this is the modules. Now, this is something that we will discuss further in details, but this is what it looks like inside of Make. Now, the next part of the automation is really the dynamic portion of the automation. I want the model to distribute the total number of words according to the proportion that I gave him, which is 3 to 5% for the hook, 80 to 90% for the body, and 1 to 3% for the conclusion. This is how I decided, so I can change it anytime. Now I have the hook generator. So the hook generator, his whole purpose is really to generate the best hook ever to capture people's attention while maintaining an educational narrative tone without being clickbaiting as well. And then I have the body generator. So on Make, this is what it looks like. So this module is the hook generator. And this part, this is one of my favorite parts. This is the sequence that actually generates the body, and it does it iteratively. So meaning that I create, because you know that, for example, the body might be, let's say 1,800 words. Asking the module to, or Claude or even ChatGPT to generate the whole thing is a suicide, because LLMs are good at doing little tasks better than doing like big tasks at once. So if you want to do a big task, you need to slice it in chunks and then use one of the secret sauce that I will share with you later on this video to accomplish your final objective. So we have here this section of the prompt generates a body, and finally this section is the part where I generate the conclusion and the call to action. So conclusion and call to action generator. The task of this module is to generate the conclusion and the call to action. And finally, I want to organize everything in my Google Drive and update my tracking sheet. So this is where it's happening. So this is very a bird eye view of how the whole system has been set up. This is just to generate the scripts of the video. So I'll play it now and we'll see how it turns out. All right, now let me show you this in action. So when I click on run once, I can set all my scenario inputs. Now keep in mind that I've already preset this for the sake of time, but these are variables that I can change for every single video. And for context, I want to generate a script for the English channel. So the subject of the video is going to be learn how to talk about yourself in English. Is introduction for beginners. And I want also the script to contain like an invite to watch my next video on how to train your brain and mouth to speak in English. So I've already preset all the variables. I'll just have to click on run. And when I click on run here, if I zoom it a little bit, you can see how the modules are working. So if you recall, what was the first step? So I've already set the input. The first step was to analyze the provided topic and create a logical structure. So this Claude module is creating the structure for me. Once the structure is done, he's going to work on the proportion. And then after that, we'll write the hook and so forth and so on. All right, so the execution is done. It took exactly 3 minutes and 15 something seconds to generate the script. Let me first show you like the result. So right here inside my drive, you have this folder, which is the 001, which was the name I gave it. And this is the script that it generated. I can check my tracking sheet here. So the tracking sheet hasn't updated, but I guess this is probably due to the fact that I didn't change these values. That is the subject, and then the video code updated. But the most important part is that the script has been generated. Now I can use text-to-speech tool like Google AI Studio, I can say like the first paragraph. So you just get an idea of how good the script is. I think this is important. So I'll use the text to speech. I'll use a single text audio. And I'll use a voice that I like. Let me paste it and let me run it by default. So we'll see like listen to the output together. Meanwhile, let me take you back to the automation just to explain, like to show you the output of each flow. So for example, here I can see that the response, so it did the analysis of the subject, provided a narrative angle and the number of sections. So it suggested the script to have 7 sections, which are introduction. So basically I wrote these items first initially I wrote it in French because I also speak French, which is why you can see some French words. It doesn't matter for the automation because in the input, when the topic of the video is in English, it adapts throughout the script. So right here we have the hook angle. Right here we have, so we know that we are expecting 7 sections. Right here we have the dynamic attribution or distribution. So right here, since my total length is 2000 words, it attributed 60 to 100 words to the hook. The target, the ideal is 80. The body is 1680 words and the conclusion is 40 words. All right, let's go back to our text to speech. Okay, it hasn't completed yet.
Imagine meeting someone new in English and freezing, not knowing what to say. We've all been there. But here's the good news. Introducing yourself confidently takes less than a minute to learn. In this video, you'll discover simple, natural phrases to present yourself like a pro. Your name, where you're from, what you do, and even your hobbies. By the end, you'll have a complete introduction ready to use anywhere. Let's start with the absolute basics. The foundation, saying your name. So let's tackle the very first thing people want to know. Your name. It sounds simple, but many learners overthink it. The most natural way to introduce yourself is to say, "Hi, I'm," followed by your first name. That's it. For example, "Hi, I'm Sarah," or "Hello, I'm Michael."
I'm just amazed, like every time I hear like the outputs of like combining different modules and AI tools together and see the result, I'm always amazed and wow, I'm just wow. Anyway, so that is just the script part, right? The scripting part. The script is done. Now for me to complete this video, I need to also have like an automation for the voice generation. Instead of doing it, I can do it manually, just like I showed you with a tool like Google AI Studio or even 11 Labs. Those are the two big, like the giants in text to speech right now. And then maybe having the images generated, because you can see from the examples, many of those channels, they use AI generated images. I can figure out the editing, the posting, the thumbnails. So the process, I mean, there are other automations on the way, which I will definitely talk about in follow-up videos. But I also promise you to share the secret sauce of how to get this type of results. So that's what I'm going to share with you next. All right, so my secret sauce consists of 2 things. The first one being the LLM chaining, so which stands for large language model chaining, and basically it means connecting several AI models like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, Grok, so that each model handles one part of a bigger task, okay? And the output of one module becomes the input of the following one. Now, example of an LLM chaining is like you want to post a blog or whatever. So you ask Gemini to search the web for recent sources, and then you pass the information found by Gemini to Claude to extract key insights. And finally, let's say you send that as an input for a GPT-5 to write the structure of a blog and write the headings, the examples, and everything. So that's the secret sauce. Now, the second secret sauce is the LLM prompting structure. And I will not emphasize this enough. Prompting is a skill that you must master. You don't just need to know how to prompt. Many people know, but they do not master. So you need to master prompting. So your prompts must be precise, role-based, and structured. When it comes to LLM prompting, this is the best prompting structure for LLM chaining that I know of and that I currently use. Now, something that is also very important is the output format. Tell your model exactly how to respond. Is it plain text? Is it JSON? Is it table, etc.? And finally, you need to add constraints. For example, if you want to write a hook, maybe you can specify that the hook should not be over 100 words. So that's a constraint. So this is the best prompting structure. To illustrate this, let me actually show you one of the prompts in my current workflow. So what I personally like to do is to set each part of my prompt as a variable and then pass it to the model, because it works for me whenever I'm trying to debug or to refine, to fine tune my prompts. I just go inside the variables and I change each section, so it works for me better. So here the role of the prompt is you're an expert in creating educational narrative content. Your mission is to analyze the provided topic and create a logical structure for an educational video. So that is basically here, it's a goal and the objective that I mix together. Here is the task, so the instructions step by step do this. Here are the input, now the output format, so the JSON format, and finally the constraints or the rules. Okay, so these are other examples of good prompts following the structure that I just shared. So you can pause here, screenshot it, and then use it later as reference. Now, you might be thinking, can't I just throw a single prompt into ChatGPT or Claude and it does everything for me? Well, no, because the LLMs right now, as of the date of this recording, are not scaled enough to do complex tasks in just like a single one-shot prompt. So you need to break it down, and to save time, if you were to run these prompts yourself, do the back and forth and just like copy paste, that takes a lot of time and you cannot scale content like that. You know, if you go back to the channels or some of the channels that I shared, you'll see that some of them post 2 or 3 videos a day or maybe 3 videos a week. And they are only able to do that because they have a scalable system that is not tied to their time. All right. Now, this is a system that I'm also currently using. So I'll put on the screen right now 2 videos that I already produced using this system. This is a fresh new content. That is something that I worked on for the last couple of days. So that's why I was so excited to share it with you. So you can also go on the channel and watch the videos and watch like to have an idea of the output. But I just posted the videos like a couple of days ago. So it's too early to have enough data to actually gauge the performance, but I'm quite confident in the fact that this will be, and this is just one of my channels, okay? I'm just demoing one of the channels that I've started. If you've watched the video till this point, it means that you're really serious about learning AI automations for content creation. So congratulations for that. Now, one thing I want to mention is that I'm pretty sure that while I was showing the whole process, you probably had like many ideas of the type of channels that you could be creating. But let me be clear, this is not by any means easy. This took me a lot of hours to develop. It's simple though, but it's not easy. So it requires knowledge and a little bit of hard work. So that's why I'm sharing this information with you. But so that's the first thing. And the second thing is, business is not about idea, but implementation. And I love what Seth Godin says when he said that ideas are dimes of dozens and the money is in the implementation. So if you're serious about implementing everything I've shared in the video so far, I actually have a couple of ways I can help you. So I have a new community. This is pretty much like my inner circle that I'm building right now. This is the first time I'm talking about it like online like this. So if you want to be part of the community, I will drop my WhatsApp link down below. Click on the link, send me a WhatsApp message, and I will chat and I will see if you're a good fit for the inner circle community that I'm building. And also, if you have any question regarding AI automations, if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or even a content creator, and you're looking into AI automations to scale your current operation, your current content, make sure to hit me a message and we'll see how I can help you, or even like your questions help me create better content. So you can also drop them in the comment section below. Now, this is just one part of a giant machine, because I just showed you the script generation. I have automations for the voiceover, the text to speech. I have automations for the text to image, the editing, the posting, and everything. So I'll be sharing these on my YouTube channel. So if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button.